Hey guys, it's Keith with Yarbrough & Sons, and today we wanted to take some time and answer some of the most popular questions about heat pumps. Let's get started. The first question is, and we get this question a lot, are heat pumps worth it? Bottom line is yes. I mean, that's the simplest answer. But to be more technical, it kind of depends on where you are and what your situation is. Now, I will say from what heat pumps have turned into in the last 30 years, they have improved tremendously. So definitely anybody that has total electric is gonna drastically improve by having a actual heat pump as opposed to using electric heat strips. Gas units, you can definitely, especially if you have propane, you can definitely save quite a bit by not having to have a propane company come out multiple times a year, because usually propane spikes at those high peak times. So it kind of gets you through the winter without having to fill up as much. So that's always a benefit, and that'll save you money. And even today, what we're looking at with the cost of gas going up and other energies like that, heat pumps can be a actual reasonable source to mitigate not having a gas furnace go off all the time. And at certain temperatures, you can actually save quite a bit. So yes, all the way around, a heat pump can be very beneficial to you and your household. Next common question we found was, can a heat pump replace a furnace? And yes, I mean, there are tons of places where, especially with the new technology, a lot of these units, they're 100% capacity at -13. So that's amazing. In fact, you can find some brands and some videos online where they've actually taken heat pumps in Alaska and they don't have backup heat. They just have straight up a heat pump and an air handler inside, and they're keeping up with demand. So it is possible, but there's all kinds of different flavors when it comes to heat pumps and the capacity range. And so the short answer to that, can a heat pump replace a furnace? Yes. Similar to that last question, can a heat pump heat a whole house? And so yes, there's that we can definitely heat a whole house with a heat pump, especially if we calculate the load. And that's where it's going to be crucial, is you need to calculate what your heat load is going to be on that house. It's not hard. It takes a little bit of work of measuring and seeing how things are, and we can definitely do calculations on what you need for your home. That's always what seems like when people don't have what they need, it's because somebody came out there and they just sold them on the idea of a heat pump, and they didn't look into what you actually need to have that heat you actually want. We can always kind of adjust things. One thing I've always found with heat pumps, people, they go, well, I just don't like the heat. I like my gas heat because I can go up to my vent and I can feel it blowing hot air. A lot of the problems with that is you don't want to be filling air. You don't want air blowing on you. We want air to blow into the room and mix into the room. That could be an issue with how your grills are set up or how the ductwork is actually ran. The fan speed being too high on the heat pump. Those are all issues that we can definitely fix, and those are usually when people wonder, is it gonna heat my home right? That's kind of the concerns they're having, and I know as an industry, we don't technically look at those things, but that's one reason at Yarbrough & Sons, we like to ask those questions. Next question that people often ask is, which heat pump is best? Now, there are many brands that do wonderful things. Here at Yarbrough & Sons, we are a Lennox dealer. Definitely would push towards them. We like Lennox. They work with us a lot. They can get the information we need to make sure we're putting in the correct system that matches what you need for your house. So I've always liked Lennox. Big things are happening with Lennoxes lately. One thing is they've teamed up with Samsung, which is great. I kind of like the joint venture that they're doing, because this will just improve how Lennox is. So if you ask me, I'm gonna put a Lennox. In fact, someday I'm gonna actually put a mini split like this in my garage just so I can have some heat and cooling out there. And by golly, I'm going with Lennox. So another popular question is, how does a heat pump work? And so short little answer, in the air conditioning mode, all we're doing is removing heat from the inside and putting it in a more desirable space, which at that time is outside. With the heat pump, all we're doing is we're reversing that refrigerant flow. So instead of taking heat from inside and putting it outside, we're taking heat from outside and putting it inside. We actually have a video right now where we take apart this heat pump and show you how it actually works. So definitely check out that. Another question we get often is, will a heat pump work without refrigerant? No, that's the basic answer. In fact, heat pumps are more crucial on needing to have the correct charge. Whereas a lot of just straight AC units, we can actually kind of have the charge off and it'll work fine. In a heat pump, it is very crucial that we have the correct charge on there. In fact, one of the problems we have with a lot of times we see is somebody has changed out just the outside unit with a heat pump and it doesn't match the coil inside. And those are two things that we definitely need to have, is that matching, because we want to make sure we have that correct refrigerant charge. And if they don't match, there's not a good way to know if that refrigerant charge is actually correct. So definitely want to make sure you have a professional look into anything that has to do with refrigerant. You want to have them to check the charge and make sure everything's properly the way it is, so we're running as efficient as we can. And then finally, pretty much the most common question we get is, will a heat pump save me money? And I'm gonna go with yes, because if you have everything properly sized, we can get that thing really, really efficient. The only caveat I ever give is if you have a gas furnace and you live in an area where gas is just dirt cheap, or I actually have a customer that has a heat pump and he runs his gas because he doesn't pay for gas because of so many kinds of reasons. So obviously, why would he want to run a heat pump when he can run gas? So unless you're in that kind of situation where you're getting free gas, I would say we can definitely save you money by putting in a heat pump. A lot of people have a question on how much would it cost to put in a heat pump? And that answer is gonna be, it depends. So definitely what capacity you need is gonna be a factor. How you want that heat pump to run is gonna be a factor. And lots of things like that are gonna have to be factored in. Are we gonna have to do duct work? So there's a lot of things. We definitely wanna have a estimator out there, one of our comfort visors, to come and see the unit and see what it could work with you. Not only are they gonna ask you questions to see that we match you up with the correct unit, we're also gonna look at your system and see how much you actually need of cooling and heating. So if you have any questions on heat pumps, we definitely want you to ask us down in the comments, because we really would love to answer all your questions you have about this great technology. We're Yarbrough & Sons. We actually service the Oklahoma City metro area. So if you're in this area, definitely give us a call so we can answer any questions you have too. Thank you, and you have a great day.